Hello everyone and welcome to our latest Monday evening polling roundup. So we're going to be having to get more opinion poll data for the UK general election. Will be held on Thursday the 4th of July. We're just 17 days away from the election, now getting ever closer, and we'll go through the polling data in a moment. Just to say that if you're enjoying the vlogs on the channel during this general election, then please do like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. You've only got 2 days left to register for your vote, by the way, so make sure you are on the electoral roll. If you're not, you've got till Wednesday to get yourself a vote. And remember, when you do go to vote, you have to take ID with you this time. That's a new change that was brought in a couple of years ago. So passport, driving licence, etc, etc, etc. Photo ID will be required. Right, anyway, that's my little public service announcement. Let's get on with our latest polling roundup. So we've got a new prediction from electoral counters. We'll deal with that first of all in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom! And there we go. We can see that the latest prediction as of the 14th of June is giving a Labour majority, again super majority, of 272 seats. That's about 100 up from what they achieved in 1997 during Tony Blair's landslide. That is 20 down on the previous prediction though that we showed you during the middle of last week. Then the prediction was a Labour majority of 292, I believe. So just quickly going through the column, see how this works out. Conservatives on a predicted share of a vote of just 21.9%, 22%, give them a central prediction of 80 seats. High end, there's much there, of course, been any prediction, so high end they could be as high as 236. Low end, they could go down to 42. Labour on a predicted majority of on a predicted share of a vote, I should say, of 41.4%. 41% of votes, so about 20% difference between Conservative and Labour. That gives them 461 seats. At the high end, they might be on 504. Low end, they could be as low as 321, which is actually just under 326. They would need to form an overall majority. Liberal Democrats on 10.8%, a little bit down on the 11.8 they got in 2019. Nevertheless, many more seats due to tactical voting. Central prediction of 63. At the high end, they could go to 77. Low end, 34. Reform, 14.8% of vote, need 15%, just gives them central prediction of 1 seat, though they could be as high as 7. Greens, 5.6%, giving them a central prediction of 2 seats. At the high end, they could be on 2. At the low end, they could lose all of their seats, or their 1 seat. And SNP, 3.5%, 0.5%, down on what they got in 2019, 4%, but nevertheless, they lose a lot more seats, 20%, 20 seats, central prediction. 38 seats at the high end, just 6 seats at the low end. Both of those would, of course, go to Labour. And applied on 3 seats, they could be as high as 5, they could be as low as 1. Central prediction there of a Labour majority, 272. There have been more polls released today, so let's go through those, shall we? We have had JL Partners, More in Common, Redfield and Wilton, and also Delta Poll. So everyone, let's have a look at JL Partners first of all, Ben. So they have found the Conservatives on 23%, with Labour on 40%, Liberal Democrats on 9%, SNP on 3%, Greens on 5%, and Reform on 18%, giving an overall Labour lead of 17% there. So how does that compare with the previous JL Partners poll? There it is. So Conservatives and Labour are both down 1. Conservatives were on 24 and Labour on 41 previously. Liberal Democrats, what are they doing? So Liberal Democrats have also gone down a couple of percent. They were on 11%, but now on 9%. No movement for the SNP. What about the Greens? No movement for them, I don't think. No. And Reform, I believe, where are they? There they are. So Reform have gone up, Reform gone up 3. So most of the movement with JL Partridge's poll is with Reform. Then we have a more in common poll that's appeared today, giving the Conservatives 25%, Labour 41%, Liberal Democrats 11%, SNP 2%, Greens 5% and Reform on 14%. Compared to a previous more in common poll, the Conservatives are unchanged on 25%, Labour also unchanged on 25%, Liberal Democrats have gone up 1 from 10% to 11%, SNP have gone down 1 from 3% to 2%, no change for the Greens, and Reform have gone up 1 from 13 to 14%. There's been a Redfield and Wilton poll released today as well, a super poll, this one, 10,000 respondents. Again, a lot of people think that if you have a lot of respondents, like 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, it will make a big difference. You know, it doesn't particularly. 1 to 2,000 is the standard for polling methodology, and you don't tend to get a great deal of difference whether you poll 1,000 or 10,000 people, to be honest. But anyway, they have found the Conservatives on 18%, catastrophic for the Tories, Labour on 43%, Liberal Democrats on 12%, SNP on 3%, Greens on 5%, and Reform tied with the Conservatives on 18%. So that's the first poll that showed that the Conservatives and Reform tied, because we did have the YouGov poll last week that actually had the Reform Party leading the Conservatives. Well, this is the second poll, I suppose, but it's either had a tie or a lead. Compared to the previous Redfield and Wilton poll, so Conservatives unchanged on 18%. Labour have gone up 1 from 42 to 43%. Liberal Democrats have gone down 1 from 13% to 12%. No change for the SNP, 3%. No change for Greens either. And Reform up 1 from 17 to 18%. Overall, Labour lead of 25% with Redfield and Wilton. By the way, the more in common poll, I'm not sure I mentioned that, gives an overall Labour lead of 16%. Redfield and Wilton, along with YouGov, tend to have the biggest, biggest Labour leads a lot of the time, I think. And then finally, we've also had a Delta poll, which has shown up today, a Delta poll, which has shown up today, giving the Conservatives 19%, Labour on 46%, Liberal Democrats on 10%, SNP on 2%, Greens on 5%, and Reform on 16%. Just looking for the previous Delta poll, there it is. So previously they had the Conservatives on 21%, so the Conservatives are down 2 with Delta poll. On this poll, Labour unchanged, 46%, previously 46% now. What about Liberal Democrats? They were 9% previously, but 10%, so Liberal Democrats up 1. As far as the SNP, they were on 4, they're now down 2, so SNP losing 2. No change for the Greens, 5% all round on both polls, and 12% Reform previously, now to 16%. So Reform have put on 4% in this recent Delta poll, and giving an overall Labour majority of 26%. So there we go, that's the latest polling roundup. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and show everyone for doing that. We'll probably have another one for you on Wednesday, I would have thought. We'll be just 1 day and 2 weeks away from the general election then. And the polls aren't moving, are they? They're very, very stable during this election campaign. Sometimes you find the polls changing quite a bit. We had that in 2017. This is an election where the polls really aren't shifting. It looks like most people have made up their minds how they're going to vote. And it's pretty bad news for the Conservatives. Let's just show you the polling graph, by the way. I forgot to do that, so let's have a quick look at that. So there has been a bit of movement during this election, and it's been from Labour and Conservatives to Reform, really. So that's how the polling graph is looking. Labour down from like mid-40s to the 40% mark, but the Conservatives also down from like mid-20s to low 20s. Reform up from about 10% to about 15%. Liberal Democrats ticking up a little bit as well with their yellow line. No change really for Green and SNP. And as long as the gap between the Conservatives and Labour remains roughly about 20%, which it seems to be doing, then even though Labour have lost a bit to reform, I think probably in the red wall, Conservatives have lost some to reform as well. Despite that, it shouldn't make a great deal of difference to the overall result, which looks like it's going to be, at the very least, a Labour landslide, if not a supermajority. Right, we'll end it there. We'll do the next party roundup for you probably on Wednesday. So, same time, same place. I shall see you then. For this one, though, that's all for now. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe. Thanks so much for doing that. And we'll be back with more very soon. For this one, that's all for now. And thanks for watching.